Hello YouTube, it is Champion DJK coming at you again with another video, and today we're going to look at Tomica, or Tomica, or Tomica. I'm not really sure what the proper pronunciation says or is, and I tend to cycle between all three of those, so I apologize about that right away, but Tomica, we'll call him Tomica for this video. So Tomica, we've got a smattering of different things that have come out from Takara Tomy, Tomica, over the years. So kind of some interesting stuff here, and this is just some stuff that I've picked up over the last little while, and I thought I would finally kind of group them all together and show them in a video. Now, these guys are probably like, this and Kyosho, probably the OGs of like really detailed, nice die cast. And, they've been around longer than Mini GT, longer than Inno64, Tarmac Works, you name it when it comes to the premium, highly detailed brands. These guys were around longer than that. Now, they're not always 1/64 scale, and we're going to get into that. But we're going to go ahead and just take a look at some different items here that I picked up, and hopefully you find this video to be interesting. Okay? Starting with this little loose guy right here. This is a little loose Texaco Ford truck, as you can see down here. Very clean. This is probably pretty old. It says made in Japan, so it's definitely going to be pretty darn old if it was actually made in Japan, not just, comes from Japan. But this was manufactured in Japan, which means it is old, for sure. And this would be in the United States, would have probably been sold as what they call a Tomica Pocket Car, which were packaged in blister packs, just like Hot Wheels, that showed like a little jean pocket and kind of cool packaging. This is in 1/95th scale. Okay, so this is old, but in very good shape for its age. And I believe it has an opening part back here. I didn't even realize that at first, if I can get it open. I picked this up for like $1 at my local diecast meet, which I thought was a pretty cool deal for something that is this old, and of course in this good a shape. And I love these old pocket cars, and I think they're very, very cool. So this was, where I guess Tomica started in the like 3-inch car world, where we have stuff about the size of Hot Wheels, was this kind of stuff. They came out with a lot of different cars in that area. Mostly known for metal-on-metal construction. I think there are some with plastic bases. They only have a couple different wheel types, this being one of them. And they typically had suspension, which I think that suspension trait kind of follows through the rest of this stuff. Rolls like a dream. All right, so very, very cool little truck, but definitely not the most exciting thing that we've got to look at today. Now, I'm going to get to these in a minute. These are old, and we're going to get to those in a second. But we're going to start kind of with what the modern lineup is. So now we've got Tomica Premium. So Tomica Premium, so beyond basics, they do make basic Tomica, and I don't have any of those here right now to exactly show you, but it's basically the principle of these old pocket cars, just about the same, something to compete with more of a mainline Hot Wheels or something like that. This Nissan Fairlady Z Z31 is a Tomica Premium, and these are current. You can purchase these nowadays. Generally, you have to go to either eBay or a hobby dealer or somewhere overseas to purchase them, because they're not available, as far as I know, any major retailer in the U.S., which is unfortunate. Would be cool if this would have been available. They did bring Tomica Basics to Walmart's, and of course it flopped a little bit because they did not pick the right castings, I don't think, and they really shouldn't have started with their basic line. I think this line probably would have sold a lot better. More desirable casting. So this is a Nissan Fairlady Z. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So these come in a box, of course. And then they're in a little baggie inside the box. And there is our car. Looking pretty darn nice, right? Very nicely done. So one thing that will throw people off is they do have plastic bases and they also have plastic wheels. And I know a lot of people want rubber tires. That's something that's important to them. The other thing, though, that is cool about these is even though they have the plastic wheels, they're not generic. They're actually a prototypical wheel. So they're like an OEM wheel, which is cool that they do that even though it's plastic. So I don't care that they're plastic. I really don't. Would it be cool if they were rubber? Sure. But them being plastic is not a big deal. Another thing that may throw some folks off with these is these are more like the 3-inch scale cars. They don't follow a specific scale, meaning they are not going to be exactly 1/64 scale in the majority of cases. This is 1/60th scale. So they're kind of designed to all be about the same size. Kind of an interesting way to do things, but that was common back in the day, and they definitely keep doing it now. So, I don't know what that green is on there. Generally, they have very good quality control. Every once in a while, you will see an issue, and there is some weirdness going on there. It almost looks like it glows. I'm trying to see if I can remove that with my fingernail, but I don't want to make it worse. That is very weird. All right. So you do have plastic details, transparent details for the taillight. And looks like we got something really cool going on with the headlights there, but I'll get to that in a second. This does have opening doors. And some of these castings do. A lot of them have some sort of moving part. You got kind of a very Hot Wheels mainline looking interior with that big plastic disc for the steering wheel. These are made for play more than they are for collecting, so they are made to be durable. And then here we got pop-up headlights. That's super cool. So a little switch on the bottom there. You move that forward and the headlights pop up. Very, very, very cool. So we've got a couple more of these. Let's just kind of look at them quickly here. Here is a Honda CRX. And just rip the cellophane off the packaging here so we can get to the inside of the box. By the way, this is a red box, which typically the boxes that are colored red are a more limited color option. So it's like a first release limited color for the car. So these are generally a little bit more expensive than trying to get a hold of these. I really don't know what the current cost is of these. You used to be able to get these things for like $8, something like that. I haven't really experimented with getting these in a while. I used to get them from AliExpress too every once in a while. So they're fairly inexpensive still. This is the first time I've actually seen this. The box within a box. Ooh, shot right out there. Here's our CRX. By the way, this one did not have any suspension, but it had the pop-up headlights. This one definitely has suspension. And again, it's probably not going to be exactly 1/64 scale. This one has a metal base too, which is interesting. You don't normally see that. But this could be this is a newer casting, so they might be kind of changing up what they're doing. That is possible. 1/60th scale on this vehicle. Very heavy with that metal base. I don't know that I've ever seen one with a metal base. The taillight detail looks really good. And we get a 1/60th scale, which is interesting because it's the same scale actually as this. Very interesting. I don't think this thing has any moving part. It does have the clear details for the headlights. They actually have quite a bit of depth to them, which is cool. I think it actually might be part of the window piece. it's possible that that's it. We're not going to obviously take this thing apart to find out. No moving part on this one, which is interesting. So we don't get a moving part, but we do get a metal base, and we get some suspension. And that's pretty cool. This thing rolls really good, and it's a nice little black CRX. So let's move on. Next one is a Toyota Supra. This one is in a plastic box protector, which you can buy these. I generally don't even hang on to them, to be honest, because I don't really have time to try to keep these boxes like in super good shape. I don't purposely destroy them or anything like that, and I know that the boxes can have value, but as I open all my other cars, I open these. This one's got a big sticker over it. The box is crunched anyway. I don't know what the point of putting a protector on that was. Maybe just to get it here and have it survive shipping. I think I got this one from AliExpress. Let's go ahead and... looks like this one's going to have pop-up headlights. So that's a cool feature. And because it has pop-up headlights, no suspension. So that mechanism must get in the way of the suspension. Here's your Supra. White. Paint quality on these is generally very good. And there's our headlights. I love that feature. That's pretty cool. Opening doors. Kind of neat to have opening doors, although I'm not a huge fan of the opening doors just because you can definitely see that big, large gap there. This one has a plastic base. But overall, pretty cool. I like collecting these Tomica Premium cars. I think they're pretty awesome. But, of course, the best of the best are the Tomica Limited Vintage and Limited Vintage Neo cars, which we'll take a look at a couple of these. Now, I think I got these actually from my local diecast club page on Facebook, and somebody was selling these Hondas as a lot. This one, and this one. Those three, I think. And they were cheap. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll take those. I'll take some Tomica Limited Vintage for cheap. Why not? I don't care that it's not necessarily a car that I'm going to care about, which this really isn't. So this is LV67A. It's a Honda 1300. 99S. But let's just open it up and check it out. So these are little gems of cars, these Tomica Limited Vintage. And they do some very, obscure to us cars. Obscure to us in the U.S. They do a lot of obscure cars. They also do stuff that we are very aware of, like a Lamborghini Countach, which we'll get to in a second as well. But very cool. So this rolls. It's got a load of suspension travel, metal base. Copyright date is 2008 on this one, so it's getting a little old. And it does have some paint rash. So that is one thing you do have to look out for. The older these are, the more susceptible they are to paint rash. And this is a pretty old one, considering it's LV67. So it's within the first 67 models that they came out with. As you can see, this Honda City is LVN 261, so it's much newer than this casting, so we should see much better paint. But the older models, and thankfully a lot more of the desirable models that the Tomica Limited Vintage has come out with, are fairly newer than this. So they really started out with some vintage Japanese cars, and some of these will suffer from bad paint. So when you're buying this on eBay, or if you're looking for it, if you're not buying them brand new, you're getting some old stuff, you definitely want to look out for that. And the same thing goes for these. When we get into these, this is Tomica Limited. So these came out before the Tomica Premium. So this was like Tomica, somewhere in between Tomica Limited Vintage and Tomica Premium before we had these two. Okay, but we're going to get to those last. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing to look at in the video, so we'll save it for last. But very cool anyway. So it's gloss white. You can barely see the paint rash from a distance, but it is definitely there. The good news is I don't think it's going to get any worse. I don't fully understand what causes it, but I don't think it's going to get any worse. All right, next is the Honda City Turbo. And this is going to lead me to one of the things that annoys me the most about this brand. And that is that sometimes if you want to complete the model, you got to add pieces yourself. And in this case, it is the front mirrors. And I will never do it. I'm just going to leave them like this. They give you like this little model kit thing. There's a little tiny dainty mirrors, and you're like, here, put them on yourself. No way is that happening, buddy. I'm not doing that. The other thing about the limited vintage and limited vintage Neo cars is they are definitely for real to scale. So this is a little tiny Honda City Turbo, and it's legitimately 1/64 scale. Super tiny, super nicely done. There's the headlights there for you. The details are very, very sharp on these. I mean, very sharp. So these are just very, very nicely done, very premium models. This one does not have the suspension, probably just a little bit too tiny to fit that mechanism in there. But this car looks super cool in black and red. Let's go ahead and open the other one. They also come up with stuff like this. This is a Tomica Limited Vintage Neo City. They do stuff like this with accessories. They also have like a diorama thing that they'll put out too. It's funny how it tells you have to put the guy on the little Honda, what is that, a Moto, what is it called, a Moto Campo or something like that. Does it tell you on this thing? It's a Honda City Turbo. Is it all in Japanese and I just can't read it? It's a Honda City Turbo, and then it's, what is this thing called? It was the Moto, does it say on the side? Maybe we can figure it out. So here's your mirrors, of course, if you dare to insert those. Or not even insert them, because there's not even a hole to put them in. That's the other part of why I would never do it. And then here's our car, nestled into this little plastic bit here. Paint looks very nice. And again, these are newer, so not going to be as susceptible, it seems, to those issues. Here is, I'm making a mess here. Here's a little guy, and this is 1/64 scale, so it is super tiny. Oh my goodness. And it's got a working kickstand. It's got an articulating kickstand. Do the wheels turn? That would be nuts. No, the wheels do not turn. So you can set that up like that, and apparently you can put this guy on there too. Look at this tiny little thing. So like I said, they do some diorama action. If we play with this enough, we could definitely get this thing standing up. And like his hand is to go perfectly on the handlebar. And I just got to get the kickstand to stay in place. All right. We're not going to mess with it anymore, but he will stand up. Trust me, he will. Is he pretty detailed? Yeah, he's pretty detailed. Definitely. Definitely neat. All right, so let's put this little guy away because he is so tiny. Look at that. Campi? I don't know. Moto Campo. It's a little tiny little scooter guy. Pretty neat. So let me put him or it away here because I do not want to just knock it off of the table. We're going to put that away. We'll leave the car out for now. And then let's get to something that's probably going to be a little bit more popular, I guess I would say, and wanted in maybe more people's collections. By the way, the Honda looks great. We didn't really look at it too close, but it's the same car as the black one. The black one looks way cooler, I think. I do like these wheels, though. I love these wheels. All right. Next is Lamborghini Countach. And this is a Tomica Limited Vintage Neo. It's 25th anniversary Lamborghini Countach. This is definitely a very premium model. It's got opening parts. These come in these bigger boxes, and they are expensive. Very expensive. I can't try to think now if this one comes with the mirrors on it. I think it does. I don't think you have to do any assembly with this model. Oh, yeah, you do. If you want the mirrors, you got to put them on yourself. And again, not doing that. So let's go ahead and open this up. There's our mirrors in the box. And here is our car. Check that out. Very, very, very cool, right? Now, when they first came out, and ooh, dude, and I swear, this is the only brand that ever has this issue, and you know what? That's irritating, right? Look at that. Paint rash. Right out of the box on this thing, and I never opened this up. This was in plastic. I actually undid the plastic just to get it ready for the video. Now, this has been sitting down here for a while, but some people say that this is caused by humidity, which is, I guess it could be, but I'll tell you what, I keep this room so dry that sometimes it's hard to talk in it. Especially for an extended period of time, which we're on 20 minutes already. Second to that, yeah, then why don't my other brands of diecast do this? I only see this issue typically with Tomica, limited vintage specifically, not the premium stuff. Well, actually, and the limited stuff, so we'll check on these too. These could have it too. Or, and you see what I'm talking about, it's this texture right here. By the way, that is fixable, but it's a pain in the butt, and I will never do it. It's more of a pain than even inserting the mirrors. This is very disappointing, guys. Really is. Really is extremely disappointing to pull a model out and get paint rash. And like I said, is it humidity? I don't know. I mean, none of my other models like ever have this issue. It's always this brand. It's like Tomica, or I guess I have seen some Racing Champions, some older Greenlight get it, but never in my collection has it really happened. I've opened up old ones and then it's gotten it. I don't know. It's just very weird. This is a very weird phenomena. Gloss black is one of the most susceptible to getting this type of paint issue. It's just a very weird issue. Something's up with that. These do have opening doors. Very cool. The opening scissor doors. Almost rather it didn't have them, because closing them, I mean, while they look pretty good, it's not. You still see that gap, and I still kind of wish they weren't there. Although posing it with the doors open is pretty cool. And then it also has a opening engine compartment here. And let me tell you why, like, I should be angry about this, because this model was very expensive. And I don't remember if I got this thing, like, in a blowout from, like, RC Mart or something like that. It might have been cheaper than it normally is, but these things can cost, like, 60 bucks. And I can't even get this open in the back. That does open back there, right? There we go. All right. And you get some mediocre, well, it's detailed in there. It is. It's just mostly black, so there's not much to see. Glad we struggled with that for a period of time. Kind of mad, to be honest. Kind of mad. I mean, when you pay that much for a model, and like I said, I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but when you pay anywhere near that amount, for a model, and you get paint like that. And I don't know how if that's how that come across, but this should be like perfectly glossed paint. It should not have any weirdness with like the clear coat over it. So that sucks. I mean, that does. That's terrible. Very, very disappointing. The model is so cool, but the paint is terrible. And that is way too bad. It's very, very disappointing. See, this looks nice and smooth. Doesn't appear to be any issues. Looks real good. And then this, like you could tell almost right away. I'm like, oh, it's gross. That sucks. And like my bare hands have never touched this model. And there you go. It's not from Finger Oils, right? Oh, disappointing. All right, well, let's get into these. This is Tomica Limited. Kind of an interesting model. Tomica Limited, again, kind of before we had Tomica Limited Vintage. I gotta remember how to open these up. That's right. It slides out. And then this slides out. And then here's our model. Now, these can be very susceptible as well to that same issue. Maybe I should not buy this stuff, right? Although I did get this from my buddy Jay, and I had him check out the model before selling it to me because I wanted to make sure there were no major issues. And it doesn't appear to be that there are. Now, these are going to be more like Tomica Premium, whereas they're not going to be fully 1/64 scale. This is in 1/50th scale. It's a Subaru 360. And this one's got suspension, rubber tires, metal, base, an opening frunk. Cute little car, right? Rolls really nice. This is actually a pretty cool one to get, so I'm glad I got this. Was more excited, though, for these Super GT or Autobox GT 2004 Japan GT Championship Series. This stuff just reminds me so much of just playing Gran Turismo 3 for PS2 and playing it constantly. Like, I played that game. I put so many hours into that game. So many hours into that game. And these cars just remind me of that. Just the graphics, everything, and these being that kind of era of race car is really cool. So this is the Epson NSX Super GT 2005 series. Now again, these are not 1/64 scale. They're not true 1/64, so these are going to be big. I don't know if they list the scale on these things, but they're big, as you can tell. Or should be able to tell. Fairly large. I mean, they're not... Yeah, they're pretty far off at 1/64. But we do get rubber tires. This one has a plastic base. Rubber tires, metal body. Paint looks to be in great shape for how old it is. 20 years now. Suspension's cool. This thing rolls super nice. It's not going to have any moving parts. This big wing on the back is metal. We have inserted detail there for taillights. And I said the paint was good, but we got some like checking in there where the paint is cracked a little bit. So when I get stuff like this, I get scared. I mean, like, oh no, what is my like mini GT collection going to look like in 20 years? Is it going to have a ton of paint issues? I hope not, because that would suck. You know, what is it going to look like in 10 years? Am I going to have issues? What about my Auto World collection? Is that going to have issues? I don't know. It's weird because you look at old Hot Wheels, really old Hot Wheels, and a lot of times the paint is still in pretty damn good condition. So this is just unacceptable. Very much unacceptable. Pretty cool, though. This is pretty neat. All right, so let's look at the 0064 Takara Dome NSX from, again, Super GT 2005. get the packaging off of that. I don't think these have ever been opened. I don't know if that's the original shrink or not, but I got these from my buddy Todd. He was just clearing out some stuff. Oh, this is taped, actually. So yeah, this clearly has never been opened. Is it taped in both? Oh, it was taped right there. Oh, I just damaged the box. Oh well. Check that one out. Here's your Dome NSX. Just super cool. These are really cool. Plastic base, metal body, same casting, I think, right? Just looks so much different in the different color. Or is it slightly different? Nah, it's the same. It's the same. Rolls like a dream. Looks really cool. Definitely into it. This one, we got a different one here. This is the 2004 series Japan GP GT Championship. And it's 68. The Gzox SSR Hasami Z. So it's a Nissan Z. Let me get the shrink off of this. This is our last car to look at today. I'm still very mad, actually, about my Countach. I know nobody from Tomica is going to be watching this video or care, but I thought it was just your old models that suffered from that. It really sucks to see a new one, and that makes me very nervous about the rest of my collection. All right. And then you got stuff like this that's like super old, and the paint's fine. Like some dirt that got in there, but paint seems to be fine. So what's the deal with the suspect paint that you're using? It's a clear coat, I think, is the issue, actually. But here's this guy, looking pretty neat. So these aren't the best, like, replicas ever, but they're cool because they came out, I think, during that time. And that is just kind of neat to me. A little bit of history. And I think it's very, very cool. So these were the ones I was kind of the most excited about anyway. And I'm glad that these are at least looking good outside of the package. We don't see any like major paint rashing or anything like that. This is a major disappointment. Very, very sad it makes me. And that's just too freaking bad, I guess. But whatever. It's terrible. The other thing that annoys me about Tomica Limited Vintage is having to add mirrors and stuff. I mean, that is just stupid, if you ask me. Just don't include them at all. I mean, don't even put them on if you can't do it. Like, don't include them. Why? Why are you going to include them? Someone's going to try to glue them to their $60 model. Well, I guess whatever. I mean, it's all full of paint rash anyway, so maybe this should be my first one I try to put mirrors on. No, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to still be upset about this. So, all right. Anyway, that's it for this video. 33 minutes. We made it long enough. Here's Tomica in a nutshell for you. Some of the stuff is really good. Some of the stuff is bad. Some of the stuff is in between. But, yeah, that Countach is just a disappointment. All right. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a good day.